council meeting of August 28th to order. It is now 6 o'clock. We'll have the prayer by Ms. Broussard.
Lord, we come to you tonight with thanksgiving, thankful for the opportunity that we have to come together and meet as a council to be able to make decisions on behalf of our community, Lord. We just ask you to be with each and every one of us as we make decisions that are not only in the best interest of our community, but also within the will of you, Lord. Lord, we ask for a special blessing for each of the council members that are up here serving tonight. It's not an easy job to serve, and we've been going through some difficult times, having to make some tough decisions, Lord, and I thank you for each and every one up here that gives their time to our community. Lord, we also want to lift up our military personnel, those that are serving at home and those that are serving abroad. Keep them safe, Lord, and bring them home safely. We ask all of this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Mr. Gonsalves, pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Tommy Pollard. Here. Michael Landry.
Here.
Tommy Landry.
Here.
Lloyd Brown. Here. Warren Goshasing. Here. Natalie Broussard.
Here.
Paul Landry.
Here.
Ricky Gonsalas.
Here.
Ricky Gonsalas. Joe Dugas.
Here.
Eugene Olivier.
Here.
Brian Napier.
Here.
Berwick Francis. Marty Trahan.
Here.
Chad Machuin.
Here.
Okay, we have a quorum. Now we need a motion and a second to go into public comments. I have a motion by Mr. Goshasing and a second by Mr. Brown. Roll call. Okay, we're now in public comments. Public comments, the policy allows for 3 minutes per person. Comments from the general public on non-agenda items. Mr. Joe LeBlanc to announce his candidacy for Iberia Parish Sheriff. Mr. Joe, if you want to go to the podium.
Y'all know that I enjoy people working side by side with them. And I want to do the same thing to help y'all save that jail over there when we can use some more food that we can grow around there, have the costs go down, you know, and anything that we can do to better the facility and make it less costly. It's what I'm looking into to help y'all. Most of you know that I work under the Romo administration. You know, I don't want to say that too loud because he was in the parish council area at one time. You know, but no, he was a great sheriff. And we lost that in the last 28 years of law enforcement. We don't have people person that are sheriffs. And both of the sheriffs were friends of mine. But I told them up straight. You are not people person. You need to have people person skill as well as law enforcement. Because just law enforcement ain't going to get it. You got to work together. You got to respect the people. The same way you want respect, you have to give that respect. Even when you're arresting them, I see more people get thrown on the ground nowadays than I've seen in my lifetime as a sheriff deputy. I have also experience in detective investigation, narcotics investigation. I was on the task force for the 16th Judicial Drug Task Force underneath Mr. Phil Haney, and I was also a cross agent for U.S. Customs. So we know how to go get the dope off the street. All I need is a chance to get my foot in the door. A lot of you know this is my 7th time running. A lot of people say every 4 years it's not a sheriff race without Joe. I love my parish. It's not for Joe. Joe don't have to be sheriff. But Joe got the qualifications, not only in law enforcement, but if you read a candidate's card and see what he or she has done for the community in the past, helping out Council on Aging, United Way, SNAP, many local programs, so that they can help their people, You see, this is what you look for, because if they didn't help people before, they're not going to start because they're sheriff, because the last two sheriff proved us that. And a lot of them say, oh, Joe, don't talk about it. No, I'm telling the truth. What comes out this mouth is the truth. We need to get our parish back the way it was when I was in law enforcement. And I appreciate any help that the council can give me, because we know how bad that jail is. And you need somebody that's going to work against y'all and not fight y'all. And I'm that person. And the good Lord has blessed me with this time of 7 times. It says it in the Bible. So help Jesus out, help me, help the parish, help the residents in the parish. And we're going to take our parish back, because we're going to go back to community policing. I don't mean throwing people all over the place. I mean community policing. Treat them with respect so they can call you when they have problems in the area, because they done it when I was in detectives. If I was on a call or something and I see people working in the yard or something, or riding around in my unit, I'll stop and I'll talk to them. How's everything going in this area? Can we help y'all with anything? Anything we need to know about? You see, they would call me up at the office. We lost that in 28 years, but I'm the man to bring it back. And I want to thank y'all again for this time. I have to go to funeral home tonight. It'll be a short stay over here for me, because a good friend of mine who was in law enforcement with me passed away. And that's Mr. Laurie Segura. He's another one that believed in helping people just like y'all.
Well, thank you, Mr.
That's why
Jones.
y'all sitting up here, okay? I know I'm long-winded, but my wife said if I don't talk enough, she's going to put me in timeout. Okay? So thank y'all for the
All
time,
right.
okay?
Thank you, Mr. Jones.
She's going to get on me now. Bye.
Okay, item number B, Mr. Keith Bodan to announce his candidacy for Louisiana State Representative, District 46.
I'd like to thank the council for allowing me to speak here this evening. My name is Keith Bodan. I know some of you up here, but for the ones that don't know you, my name is Keith Bodan, and I am running for state representative in District 46. District 46 covers part of Joel's area, the Laurelville area, down to Crochet Road and Old Generate Highway. So it will be, I will be working with you in as a state representative, and I want everyone here to know that I will be available, open, and as helpful as I can as the next state representative. I'm not a politician. I've never run for office before. I grew up in a family business. 30 years ago, I got into the oil field, and that's my background. I've been in the oil field for the last 30 years, and I just can't stand by and watch as our jobs are being driven out the state by the governor and his cronies, and no one's trying to stop him or do anything about it. So that's the main reason for me running. And I just can't see us getting our taxes raised every year. We need to be more efficient in government spending, and getting more jobs will also help with growing our tax base instead of having to raise our tax rates every year. Louisiana is last in almost every category when compared to other states. And I travel a lot. I go into other states. As a matter of fact, right now I'm working in New Mexico, 14 and 14. And you see these other states, and like New Mexico and Arizona, they're sandboxes. They have nothing. It's desolate country, and Louisiana has so much to offer. We have agriculture from every corner of the state. We have oil and gas here. We have tourism. We have a seafood industry that's second to none. But we're still last in every category when compared to other states. There's a reason for that. And it's because of a lack of leadership in Baton Rouge. We need to change things in Baton Rouge. We need to bring positive change and competent leadership. I think I can do that, and I want to give it my best shot to help the people of District 46. Put the people back to work, make Louisiana a more business-friendly state where we can, help the businesses that are here grow and prosper and start attracting new business. My deal is we need to get our oil and gas jobs back, but that's my background, so I know that part of it pretty well. But that's just the first step, and we take that first step because we have so many people, thousands of people in South Louisiana that are either working out of state, not working at all, or working in jobs that they're really not satisfied with, that would love to be back on the drilling rig or in the oil and gas business. We put those people back to work, and that money, goes to our economy instead of, the money that when I go to work, I'm spending it in New Mexico. We could be putting that money here in our economy, growing our jobs. You get the rigs back, and it's not just the drilling jobs. It's all of the other jobs associated with it. You have more people working. The restaurant businesses are going to do better. The grocery stores are going to do better. The gas stations are going to do better. It's a snowball effect, and we need to start working on getting it here. And we start with oil and gas, but we don't stop with oil and gas. We start diversifying. I would love to see an auto plant in Louisiana. A couple years ago, Toyota had looked at building a plant here, and the first thing they did was they looked at our tax code. They saw how out of date our tax code was, and just how crazy it was. That plant is currently in Alabama. So it was a plant that they wanted to build in the South, and we lost it. We lost it because we're not a business-friendly state. That's what I'm running for. I want to help the people of District 46. I want to bring jobs back, and I want to try and lower our taxes. And the other thing is infrastructure. We have to get our roads and highways and bridges in better shape than they are now. And that's the reason I'm running. And if anyone has any questions, I'd love to answer your questions.
No questions today, Mr. Keith.
Thank you all very much
Thank
for
you
allowing
very
me this
much.
time. Thank you.
Item number 2, comments from the general public on agenda items. I don't have anything filled out, so now I need a motion and a second to go back into regular session. I have Mr. Gashasan, Mr. Brown, roll call. Okay, we're now back in regular session. Reports, finance and administration, none. Reports, parish and governmental agencies, none. Public Works reports, Public Works Department report for closed work orders dated August 12th to 16th was in your packet, and Public Work Department report on open work orders dated August 20th, 2019 was in your packet. Special business, we have none. Councilmember announcements. Mr. Gashasan.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, thank you. I just wanted to give a shout out to everyone who was involved in the movie production downtown Alberia. I know they pumped a lot of money into the downtown area, and of course citywide. Just to see everybody come together, Christmas in August, it was an amazing thing. It goes to show you the strength of our community when we was put that task. So I just wanted to give an announcement about that.
Good point. Some of the roads were a little hectic, but after you realized what was happening, you could work your way around pretty easily. Next up, we have Mr. Olivier.
Yes, I'd like to report on a meeting Paul, Larry, and I attended on Tuesday morning, a 2-hour meeting with one at KDM. The topic was basically opportunity zone in the parish of Iberia. They basically explained the areas where opportunity zones are available for investors to go in and make investments in our local parish. And along with the program, we also talked about other areas such as economic development districts, the transportation corridor study, Brownsfield assessment grant program, public and private partnership we talked about also. We also talked about historic and preservation district and cultural districts and tax credits. We also talked about national history and preservation tax credits. It was a well-attended program. A lot of people from the local community here did attend the program. It was held at the Parkview Library over there in Parkview. And I think there was a lot of valuable information that came out of this program. There will be a follow-up program probably in about 4 weeks, spin off of this particular program. So I would encourage anyone in the general public who's interested in opportunity zones to please watch the newsletters. In about 4 weeks, we should be having a follow-up meeting. Thank you.
Okay, and we're going to have Voter Education Week is September 3rd to 6th. So if you're not registered, you can sign up for that. You can go to www.govote.com. You can update your records, get sample ballots, check polling places, and election results. And also, I had went to the Sewer District 1 meeting last night, and to let everybody know, the Sewer Department did accept the Estes Road, Paul Segura Port project. So that's all gone, but I do want to let y'all know the state is coming in and doing some drainage work. So it was decided that for about 120, we could move the line, but it's not in the way. So there's one manhole that's in the way. So it would be about 10 to 15,000 to pull it out and then just connect it and make a straight line. But the sewer department thinks that maybe Barry can do it with some help, maybe with Public Works, and we could do it for a lot less. So anyway, that's going to be moving on, and at our next meeting, Mr. Shealy will have us some paperwork to get it all finalized. So, and for y'all that we know that the sewer department went there 3 times a week to pump out the lift station. The plugs have been pulled and the line is now flowing, so there's no more traffic. So salute to the sewer department and Mr. Reshort and them for moving that on. Seeing no other councilman announcements, we'll go to parish president's announcements.
Okay, the Public Works completions over the last 2 weeks, cleaning culverts in District 8, 9, 10, 13, and 14, debris pickup in various districts, down trees that was picked up in District 3, field drainage in District 12, roadside drainage in District 5, grading the roads in various districts, road crossing in District 9, road patching in District 3, 5, 7, 8, 10, 11, and 12, road repairs in District 9, and shoulder work was done in District 3 and 13. We were included in the presidential disaster declaration that will allow us and all of our Barry Parish agencies and municipalities to request FEMA reimbursements for our disasters related to expenses such as sandbags, overtime, equipment, etc. That's a big deal because we, as you know, have employees right now that's actually managing the burn site, so we're going to be able to get our money back for that. On Monday, we hosted and escorted 2 damage assessment teams from GOSEP. The job was to verify our report of the homes that had severe damage or that was destroyed in Hurricane Barry. We visited 57 homes that was destroyed or reported destroyed, and we estimated about 20 homes will actually be determined by GOSEP to be severely damaged or destroyed. Storm debris. We started picking up storm debris from Hurricane Barry on July the 29th. And we're picking up only the vegetation and bringing that to the burn site. We're not picking up debris that actually have swimming pools and the brown bags and everything else in it because we can't bring that to the burn site and burn. We have absolutely no idea where DEQ is when we're burning. But they're smart enough to know that if you're burning something and all at once you got this black smoke going on, something's wrong. So we have to do this correctly. We were able to get this permit from DEQ with some concerns that we have in Iberia Parish, but we were very blessed that they gave us an opportunity to do it the way we're doing it and to spend the dollars or the few dollars that we're going to spend in getting this parish done. We're 4 weeks in. Today is the 28th, I think. And we started on the 29th. We have about 2 more weeks before we'll be finished with round 1. And then we're going to go back around and do a second round of picking up. All of the sites that have mixed debris in it is brought to a totally different site. That's actually brought to what's the name of the company? Pace. And so if you see a truck that go to your location or in your neighborhood and they're picking up your neighbor's debris, but they're not picking up yours is probably going to be considered what's called trash. And the only reason it's called trash is because you have some other types of materials that's involved in that particular pile that we can't bring to the burn site and get it burned. But we're on pace to get everything done. We're doing very well. We have 5 trucks working the parish, And we in our last three zones right now, and hopefully we'll be done with that, the first load or the first round in 2 weeks. And then we're going to go back and make another round. And that's it for my report. Thank you, sir.
Okay,
Thank
thank
you,
you,
Mr.
Mr.
Chairman.
Richard. Consent agenda items for public hearing, minutes, regular minutes of the August 14, 2019. Summary number 134, introduced by the parish president, a resolution on condolences to the family of former Governor Kathleen Babineau Blanco, who passed away on August 18, 2019. Summary number 135, introduced by the parish president, a resolution amending the 2019 Airport Authority Fund budget in the amount of $61,233 to correct the grant award amount to reflect the actual grant award amount of $338,676. Is there any of the consent agenda items that any would like to pull out? Mr. Goshasan?
Yes, Mr. Chair, on summary number 134, I'd like to remove the consent agenda.
Okay, we're going to move item number 134. So then no further discussion on the minutes and summary number 135. Roll call. Okay, we had a motion by Mr. Goshasan, a second by Mr. Gonsalas. Roll call. Chad. Okay, those 2 minutes passed. We'll go back to 134. Mr. Goshasan?
Mr. Chairman, I'd ask 134 be unanimously second.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Goshasan and a united, yes, okay, no further discussion, roll call. Yep, that motion passes. Ordinance introduced for public hearing, summary number 5002, introduced by legal counsel, an ordinance amending and reenacting sections 12-9, 12-10, 12-11, and 12-12 of compiled ordinances of Iberia Parish, Louisiana relating to solid waste collection and disposal, to provide with respect to solid waste collection and disposal for commercial and residential establishments or locations, to provide for the effective date thereof, and to otherwise provide with respect thereto. Have a motion by Mr. Gonsalas, a second by Mr. Napier. Mr. Gonsalas. Okay. Mr. Andy, any comments?
No, we discussed it at length in the committee meeting. The primary purpose for this ordinance is to redefine residents to include any residents, whether it's single-family, multifamily, apartments, trailer parks, et cetera, will be picked up as part of the residential garbage pickup. It wasn't changed, but it also requires that those containers be placed in proper places in accordance with the contract we have with the contractor who picks it up. There was removed a description of the container, and it just said approved containers, so that if there was, especially an apartment complex, for instance, because the old definition was your typical cans, there may be places in apartment complexes and others where you want to use a green box or a larger box, and we want to be able to use those at appropriate places. Other than that, it's, I think that Mr. Gotchasan wanted the, you could put it out 48 hours in advance, but you had to pick it up within 24 hours. I believe that was changed after the committee meeting, so.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Gonsalas.
I'm good.
Okay, next up, Mr. Napier.
Yeah, so Andy, this should clear up all of, you know, the residential garbage pickup. So I read it. As far as I'm concerned, good job. I'm gonna support this. This is a long time coming. We need to clear that up. Thank you, Andy. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, Mr. Goshasan.
Just one quick question, going back to the bin collections, Andy, and how that's determined. Can we go through that process again? The carrier or the collector will determine each of the sites individually. They'll go back and, I guess, maybe determine whether or not it's sufficient of what they're using, or what's the basis on the formula they're gonna use? I mean, obviously, if there's one on a state highway, you don't want 30 cans lined up on a state highway. So do we know off the hinge of,
The way this is done and the way the contract is, that's gonna be up to the contractor.
The collector?
To tell us what is the most efficient, safest way to pick that garbage up. You know, we may have private roads that are difficult to get to. You may have parks that are very narrow, that the roads won't really hold a truck, and if you can pick it up with a large container, it would save the roads, but that, they're the experts in it, and so they ought to be the ones to tell us how it ought to be picked up. I don't think there'll be any major change in the way anybody's is picked up. There may be a few isolated ones because of unique situations.
and just for the record, I think you mentioned it in committee, but didn't mention it tonight, that the way the ordinance will be enforced would be no additional cost to the parish. Is that still correct?
Correct.
Okay, and the reason I go back to the can collections is, you know, if they decide to go to the bins, does it change the cost of the collection?
No, that was figured in, that was part
House
of the
count?
discussions, was that you tell us how you can do this for the lowest possible cost.
Okay.
And in the most efficient way, and so it was left to them to, and that's how we were able to hold down that cost.
I want to just say for the record, I think this is more of a fair playing field for the issue that we had at front, and I think this puts some form of a solution for those, the residents and the commercial units that'll be picked up. So, Andy, I appreciate the hard work. I know there was a long, lengthy discussion between council members on this, but I think this is the right direction to move in. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
Okay, well, no further discussion. Roll call. That motion passes. Summary number 503, introduced by Regional Planning Commission, an ordinance amending Chapter 22 of the Code of Ordinances of Iberia Parish, Louisiana, to establish regulations for flag lots. Have a motion by Mr. Gonsalas. Have a second by Mr. Olivier. Moved by Mr. Gonsalas. Mr. Olivier? No further discussion. Roll call. That motion passes. Resolutions introduced by public hearing. Summary number 136, introduced by Recreation and Playground Commission, a resolution amending the 2019 Recreation and Playground Fund budget in the amount of $15,370 to provide for, 1, $5,804 for a transfer within function for maintenance personnel, 2, $38,000 in additional day camp revenues, 3, $18,002 in expenditures, day camp, $7,383 in expenditure King Joe, and $2,385 in expenditures Ward 8, and 4, $25,600 in R&M expenditures at various locations as a result of storm damage, all to be funded from the fund balance previous year's line item. I have a motion by Mr. Olivier, a second by Mr. Napier. Mr. Olivier. Mr. Napier? No further discussion. Roll call. That motion passes. Summary number 137, introduced by Sewage District Number 1, a resolution amending the 2019 Sewer District Number 1 fund budget in the amount of $250,000 to provide for the following additional appropriations. 1, $100,000 MCC Cabinet Plant 3. 2, $60,000 partial year contract amendment to statewide electrical for call-out duties. 3, $50,000 pump-out services sludge truck following Hurricane Barry. And 4, $40,000 for emergency needs. I have a motion by Mr. Olivier, a second by Michael Landry. Mr. Olivier? Mr. Michael Landry? No further discussion. Roll call. That motion passes. Summary number 138, introduced by the Tourist Commission, a resolution amending the 2019 Tourist Commission fund budget in the amount of $60,000 for the following. 1, recognize $100,000 received from BP, and 2, appropriate $40,000 needed for various buildings, maintenance, repairs. I have a motion by Mr. Goshenson, a second by Ms. Broussard. Mr. Goshenson.
Mr. Chairman, I'm a bit, maybe I can go back to Ms. Kim. I'm a bit concerned with the 40,000 because that fund balance isn't very healthy in the Tourism Commission. I understand about the BP, the 100,000, but that's a parish building. There's any way that public, parish-wide buildings may be able to kind of help her a little bit because, down the road, if y'all been following the sales tax collections for hotel motel taxes, it's not prevailing, and that's our main income. That's our main source. I think we need to relook at this 40,000.
So relative to Tourist Commission, so the 100,000 was not anticipated in her budget, so that is gonna be added to her ending fund
Correct.
balance. It's estimated that the fund balance after the 40,000 for the building repairs is gonna be about 401.
Correct.
Hotel motel, the last couple of months has been slightly down, but there has been a slight increase over last year.
The very little.
Well, it's probably about 5.
Yeah.
It's probably about 5.
I mean, I'm just, I know public and buildings is for this reason, and I go back to that. I mean, I seen just earlier, we just passed one with Playground Commission, who has a healthy fund balance and is gathering some money, it looks like, but, she's gonna find herself down the road, or that organization, where they're gonna have to make some, we've already made big cuts, if you remember last year in the budget, that really took some of the funding from what she would normally go out to sell the parish for. So I just, maybe we can hang on to some of that money and maybe take 40,000 out of public building.
Well, we have some other issues that are popping up on the courthouse, relatively expensive.
Okay.
So, she's proposed this. This went to her
Understood.
board, so that's why it's coming here. We might wanna wait until budget. I mean, she needs the repairs now, though.
Well, can you go into a little bit more lengthy of what exactly it is with the
I'll
building?
tell you what's going on. We just identified an issue that we have on the roof over here, and it's potentially gonna cost us around $610,000 to repair.
For the courthouse?
Got it. Now, we got some things we're looking at doing that can actually reduce it, but if you were to do it the way it was being proposed to us, it's very severe. We did a lot of things at the courthouse to try to stop the mold and stop the leaking and stop all the different things that we've been doing. But you got to keep in mind, this courthouse got some age on it. And we've been patching and patching for a long time, and we can continue to patch. And we're probably gonna have to patch if we can't get the money that we need to do it correctly. I would just say that if you were to go on the second floor right now, in the judges area, they actually have a 55-gallon drum collecting water. We have certain areas in this courthouse that needed work for years and years and years. And we're trying to address these areas, but nothing is cheap about dealing with buildings at all. So just so
No,
you know
I-
that.
and I appreciate the information. I just, guys, we're starting to see all of our aging buildings.
Yes.
That is
And-
costing big dollars, and I think there's been some discussion about
Some of the things,
evaluating parish buildings
getting ready
across
to
the
tell you that.
parish and what's being utilized and what's not. I mean, that was something we talked about several years ago. We need
Right.
to pursue that, and if we need to drop some of those buildings back into commerce, let's do it. I mean, it's taking a toll on us. I mean, we can.
You're exactly correct, and that's exactly
So-
what we're looking at doing in Iberia Parish. We've already had the discussion with the chairman and others, and we're gonna have to look at what we really need here in Iberia Parish, and what we don't need, we're gonna have to get rid of some buildings. It's not only hurting us with the repair costs, it's hurting us with the insurance costs, and it's just a trickling effect. So
Yeah.
we've got some tough decisions to make.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
And good point though, Warren. Yes.
We did have a few of us meet, and
Okay.
the description of the property and stuff, it was hard to identify, so we were looking at another way that we could get a list of all of it, and, it's gonna take some tough decisions, because
Yeah.
some people ain't gonna wanna,
Yeah.
ain't gonna wanna
One-
move, and,
One of the things that I'm very proud of what we did so far is, to our knowledge, we have no mold in the parish, in these buildings. And it's critical that we keep these buildings safe for employees and people that visit these buildings. So not only this building, every building that we have, so we have to make sure that we're doing what we have to do to.
But we are making sure these remodels that we're doing, we're not affected by any of the storms from previous, right? We made sure of that, correct?
Exactly.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm good, thank you.
okay. No further discussion, then roll call. And motion passes. Ordinance is voted at the next one. I'll call for an adjournment. If we can adjourn, we'll roll right into the, okay. Okay, roll call. Tommy, Morty. Ricky. Okay.